This is the eHealth Radio Network, your source for health advice on demand. And now your host, Eric Michaels.
Thanks for joining us once again here on the eHealth Radio Network. This is your host, Eric Michaels. eHealth Radio gives you the most current health information, news, and advice featuring some of the leading innovators in healthcare and wellness who are changing healthcare as we know it. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. Today we're speaking with Rodney Varner, the CEO of Genprex, a clinical stage gene therapy company developing potentially life-changing technologies for patients with cancer and diabetes. Mr. Varner, thanks for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
Eric, thanks very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
And of course, we certainly appreciate the time taken to be with us here today. So for starters, tell us, what actually inspires you at Genprex?
I'm inspired by the opportunity that we have to provide help to millions of people who have cancer and diabetes. I've known many people who have suffered from cancer, some who have died. I've had family members who have. I personally am a pancreatic cancer survivor. I've spent many hours in the waiting rooms at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, seeing the suffering of so many people and their families, and we have the potential to provide benefits to cancer sufferers, particularly those with lung cancer, and it's just extremely inspiring and gratifying to me to be able to work towards that goal with our technologies.
A lot to be proud of and a lot to be inspired by what you're doing there at Genprex. And thanks for joining us here today to give us some of the details on the company. Now, give us an overview of Genprex's gene therapies in development and what is it intended to treat and how does it work?
We have two different gene therapies. Our lead gene therapy, which we've been working on for many years, is a gene therapy for cancer. Our initial target is lung cancer, which kills more people than any other form of cancer around the world. It's the second most common form of cancer. We have an FDA fast track designation to move this drug towards development and to get it to patients. This gene therapy uses a tumor suppressor gene encapsulated in a cholesterol molecule. It's injected by IV and circulates through the body, targeting cancer cells. We have a second gene therapy, totally different, that's much earlier stage, that we recently licensed from the University of Pittsburgh. It's designed to treat diabetes, both type 1 and type 2.
Good information there and helpful to understand. Now, also, if you would, talk more specifically about Genprex's lead product candidate, GPX001.
Okay, well, certainly. First, just very recently, within the last few weeks, we received approval from the FDA to use an official name of this technology. We now call it Reqorsa, REQORSA. We received that FDA approval, again, just within the last few weeks. This drug candidate, Reqorsa, again, we have FDA fast track designation for it. It's designed to use the body's natural tumor suppressor genes to fight cancer. We all have tumor fighting genes. A category of them is called tumor suppressor genes. We're using a specific one that was identified at MD Anderson Cancer Center as being a cancer fighting gene, and it's been shown that this gene is either absent or deficient in more than 80% of lung cancers. So we're targeting these cancers that have a missing or deficient gene. We're replacing that gene through an IV treatment and causing or allowing the body to restore this natural tumor fighting function. We're using a non-viral delivery system. It uses a cholesterol molecule that encapsulates the gene that's then injected by IV and circulates throughout the body. We can our data shows that this gene therapy may be effective against lung cancer, and that's our initial target. We have 2 clinical trials upcoming in lung cancer, planning to start early next year. But data also shows that this gene therapy could potentially be effective in a wide range of cancers, including breast cancer, and including triple-negative breast cancer, which is extremely difficult to treat, glioblastoma, head and neck cancers, renal cell carcinomas, thyroid cancer, and others. So it's a very exciting technology with the potential to really benefit a large number of patients in a wide range of different cancer types.
Today on the program is Mr. Rodney Varner, the CEO of Genprex, a clinical stage gene therapy company developing potentially life-changing technologies for patients with cancer and diabetes. And he's joined us here today on eHealth Radio's Cancer Information, Diabetes, and Health News channels, a part of the eHealth Radio Network. Now, continuing on, Mr. Varner, would you please give us some insight also about GPX002, the gene therapy for people with diabetes, and what it is comprised of?
Well, this is a different type of gene therapy. It uses a viral delivery system, that is a hollowed out and neutralized virus. The genetic DNA is inserted into the hollowed out virus. The virus is injected into the patient's pancreas with an endoscope. And this virus carries two types of genes. They're called PDX1 and MAFA. And when these genes are inserted into the pancreas of a diabetic person, the thesis is that the genes will convert pancreatic alpha cells into what are called beta-like cells in the pancreas that produce insulin and that are not recognized by the immune system and therefore aren't destroyed by the immune system, as happens in diabetes. In diabetes, the body destroys its own beta cells, which are the insulin-producing cells. And thus, diabetes patients, if they can't be treated with or successfully treated with drugs, they typically have to have insulin treatments, sometimes for the rest of their lives. And of course, there's a wide range of health issues that diabetes causes. Blindness, heart disease, limb amputations, many other things. So diabetes is a really pervasive and terrible disease affecting many people, both young and old. And we believe that by use of this gene therapy, inserting these genes into the pancreas, that we may be able to relieve diabetes in many patients. To date, this research has been done in mice and is currently ongoing in primates at the University of Pittsburgh. And the university just recently received a $2.6 million grant from the National Institutes of Health to support this research. And, we're very excited about that third-party validation by the National Institutes of Health. So just a really exciting technology that has the potential to benefit a lot of people around the world.
That is certainly some good news, and thanks for that great report right there. Lastly, what are the benefits of Genprex's targeted therapies for people with non-small cell lung cancer?
Well, non-small cell lung cancer is the initial target that we're going after with Recorsa, our gene therapy for cancer. And what we've shown, both in preclinical research and in 2 clinical trials, is that it has the potential to slow down, in some cases, stop cancer. And we believe that it has the potential to extend people's lives and improve their quality of life of people that have non-small cell lung cancer. And people with late-stage non-small cell lung cancer, which is what we're targeting, they have a poor prognosis, and there's a real need for additional drugs to treat them. They typically become resistant to the existing therapies. We have the FDA Fast Track designation to use our gene therapy combined with Tagrisso, which is a drug produced by AstraZeneca. It's their largest selling drug, and our Fast Track designation would allow us to combine our gene therapy with Tagrisso and treat patients who become resistant to Tagrisso, which is almost all of them. So these patients go on to a drug like Tagrisso, they relapse, and then they need additional alternatives. We would come in, combine our drug with Tagrisso, and continue to treat them. And we have a clinical trial for that purpose scheduled to start early next year. We have the same proposition for combining our gene therapy with Keytruda, which is Merck's largest selling drug. It's a very successful lung cancer drug, and we have preclinical research from MD Anderson that shows that our gene therapy can be synergistic with Keytruda, providing a better benefit than Keytruda alone. And again, we're targeting combining our gene therapy Recorsa with Keytruda in a clinical trial early next year to treat non-small cell lung cancer.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Varner, we certainly appreciate what you do on behalf of Genprex and what Genprex is doing in this space. I'm sure listeners want to know how they could get further details online on Genprex and how they could be in contact accordingly as they need to.
We have a webpage at www.genprex, GENPREX.com. We're also traded on the NASDAQ stock exchange with the symbol GNPX. And obviously there's a lot of information online about us through both our webpage and, as you might imagine, by Googling GNPX.
Well, Mr. Varner, we thank you for your time and for joining us here today on eHealth Radio. We certainly wish you and the company continued success.
Well, you're quite welcome, and thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience.
And it certainly was our pleasure anytime. We've been speaking with Mr. Rodney Varner, the CEO of Genprex, a clinical stage gene therapy company developing potentially life-changing technologies for patients with cancer and diabetes. And for further details, visit Genprex.com. And again, this has been your host, Eric Michaels, and we do thank you for your continued support of the eHealth Radio Network. Join us again soon for another episode that will help further expand your knowledge on those things that are important to your health and wellness. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. And as always, we do thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the eHealth Radio Network. For more information or to subscribe to this podcast, visit eHealthRadioNetwork.com.